Hey everybody, welcome back to the Country Living Homestead. Today I am cleaning out the chicken coops and getting ready for fall. So I thought I would bring you along and show you some of what that entails for us here. So I just got done scraping all of the old chicken bedding out. And that is right out here. This, we have an unhappy hen right now. I think she's broody. So we have the chicken bedding out here. This looks like such a big pile because it's been accumulating over the course of the summer. So what we're going to be doing with this, we let it sit here over the course of the summer and it composts somewhat, but it doesn't fully compost. But we're just going to go ahead and use the tractor bucket to pick this up, and we're going to spread it on the garden just as is. And between now and next spring, this is going to break down really nicely. And we did the same thing last year and our plants grew amazing in this. And honestly, this was all we used. Actually this and some ashes from our wood stove. We weren't able to get any compost last year, so it wasn't a choice initially, but it ended up working out great. And as you can see, this stuff, it has chicken feathers in it. It's got chicken manure. It's got, I'm sure, droppings from their feed. It has straw. So it works out amazing in the garden for us. So we'll be taking care of this later on. In the meantime, I am getting some straw back down in this coop. We got down to about somewhere about 30 degrees last night. So I'm going to be applying it fairly liberally in here, and that will insulate this floor and keep it a little bit warmer in here. We do have insulated walls, all except for the back wall. So we'll probably be insulating this before the really cold weather gets here. But I also, and the reason we really want to insulate that is because it's right behind the roost bars. So insulating that will keep the chickens a lot warmer at night. And if you're wondering what this laundry basket is, we have 4 copper Moran roosters that are a little bit aggressive, especially one. So I'm using this old basket that we harvest produce with to block them so they can't come in here while I'm cleaning the coop. This girl, I've got to get her off the eggs that she's sitting on. Hopefully break her broody, because we definitely don't want her hatching any chicks this time of year because it would be way too cold to raise them. We usually just raise chicks in the spring, early spring. We'll let our birds hatch some out, or we'll put some in the incubator. And that's pretty much it for us. So now what I'm working on, our mud has been really muddy because we've had rain for like 4 days. And we do have a clay soil here. So as you can see, our eggs have been getting quite dirty, and so have the nest boxes, the straw inside there. So I'm going to be taking all of that out, taking out the eggs, taking out the old straw, and I'm going to be putting fresh straw in here. Hopefully that will help the egg situation with keeping them clean. And I just grabbed these. These were actually all fairly clean, so I put those in a separate container. Okay, we got her off her nest. As you can see, she had quite a clutch there, and this is... What, girl? I know, you're mad. I know, you're mad. This is actually our fault because we didn't collect the eggs for a couple of days. It was over the weekend. We got busy, so they built up. And anytime that you have quite a few eggs building up, it can trigger your hens to go broody. So I'm going to go ahead, get this taken care of, and then I'll bring you back. All right, so I cleaned all of the nest boxes out. They all have fresh straw. Hopefully that'll help keep the eggs cleaner. I got 2 dozen clean eggs, and this is kind of cool. These really dark eggs are from our French copper Marans. They just started laying, I'm gonna say about a month ago, and we got one of these. So I'm gonna crack it open at the end of the video and we'll see, but I'm about 99.9% positive that this is gonna be a double yolker. So, which is pretty cool. You only end up needing 1 for breakfast instead of 2. So at the end of the video, I will crack this open and we'll see if we do in fact have a girl that's laying double yolkers. Okay, another thing that we like to do this time of year, we switch away from the plastic and metal waters, and we switch to these plastic bowls. I've got to wash this one out. It's been sitting in the coop, and the reason we do this is because this is about the time of year where our waters are going to start freezing. So these, they're very easy to just flip. You can just flip them over and then step on the bottom of it, and that will release the chunks of ice that get in these, and then we can just go ahead and refill them. We usually do that 2 to 3 times a day in the winter, depending on how cold it is and what's going on. We also have a backup water. So we keep one of these heated dog water dishes. It plugs in, so you do need to have electricity to run this. But if we're not going to be home for an entire day and we know we're not going to be able to bump ice out of these containers, we will just go ahead and use this, and that will keep the water completely thawed out for the whole day. Oh, the chickens broke down my barrier and one of the roosters. So the water is filled up and brought back in. The chickens are going to be spending the day spreading this hay out, or the straw out. They actually like it when you leave it in clumps because it gives something to do. They'll spread this out in here for hours. I don't normally even spread it out this much, but I just decided to do it a little bit more today than normal. So this is chicken coop number 1, and I will get my eggs over here. I probably have to fight the rooster for them. And then I will show you the rest of the homestead. Also, a little tip, if you have a mean rooster, we use the salmon net. And if he gets a little too spunky, we can just scoop him up in this net and carry him around in here until we're done, and then just gently release him. So hopefully I won't need to do that today, but we'll see. Does not like us coming in and getting the eggs at all. We have 3 other ones that are still outside, so he may not be the one that normally attacks us. All right, so far so good. Okay, so this is the chicken coop that we just came out of. Forgive the outside of it. We haven't had a chance this year to do anything with it. We're not quite sure if we want to do cedar shakes on the outside or if we want to paint it. So we're kind of holding off while we're still up in the air about that. But right over here is our house. So as you can see, we like to keep things close to the house. We don't want to be trekking out in 3 foot of snow in the middle of winter tending the animals. So that's something to keep in mind when you're laying out your homestead. It may seem like a good idea to put your animals, way out in, like your pasture or something like that. But for animals that need a lot of day-to-day care, like chickens and ducks and things like that, we do like to keep them fairly close. Our other chicken coop is right there. You can see it a little bit through the trees. And our duck coop is right here. So again, close proximity to the house. It's just a short walk out there, and my husband can just snow blow paths for us in the winter so that we're able to get out there. Now, we do plan to get a cow eventually, and the cow will be out in the pasture. Over here beyond our chicken coop, right up here is where we have our garden. So right out here is our garden. And we have a little path here that leads out. We're actually putting in some stone over here to make a better path. But the only exception that we really have for animal enclosures that are not near the house. Okay, so our pig pen is right out here. That is not very close to the house. And if you've ever owned pigs, you understand why. They can be very, very smelly animals. So we try to keep that a little bit further from the house. It's kind of across from our garden out here. We don't keep pigs on the homestead year round. We only buy like feeder pigs, and we'll raise them and get them butchered. So at this point in time, we're not set up to keep pigs on the homestead year round, but it is something that we're considering for the future. Just kind of depends on how things work out. And we have quite a large garden. And then beyond this area, we have a couple of pastures, and then we have quite a bit of woods. And so over here is our pole barn. That is pretty much the hub for everything that needs to get worked on, if something breaks. We also store our equipment in there, like our tractor and lawnmowers and things like that over the winter. So right now we are getting rid of some junk. So we do have a trailer right there we're actually getting ready to take that to the dump. Straight ahead from here are our one chicken coop and our duck enclosure. So I also just got done cleaning this chicken coop out. So we'll come and scoop that up with the tractor as well. So I know most of you have probably seen it, but for those who haven't, we'll take a little peek inside. And this is where we keep our breast chickens. So this spring we did raise a batch of Cornish cross, but we decided that at least for now, that would be our last batch. We also have one hiding here behind the feed. But we decided that would be our last one. We wanted a more sustainable meat bird, one that we could reproduce ourselves. So that's what made us decide to go with the American Breasts. We're pretty excited to have them here. We haven't hatched out any chicks yet. We won't be doing that until spring. So if we end up with too many roosters in this batch, we will probably go ahead and butcher one and try it out. So if we do that, we'll let you know how it tastes. But we've got their nest boxes in here. Hopefully they'll be laying eggs soon. They're past the age where they would normally lay eggs, but since it's fall and the daylight hours are a lot less, we figure that's probably why they haven't started yet. But they're beautiful birds. As you can see, they have slate blue legs. They're a white bird. They grow fairly quickly, not as fast as the Cornish cross, but we've been happy with their rate of growth. We actually have a few more than this, but they're out in the run. So yeah, this is where they live. They're a little jumpy still. And we have a little roost that we put in here for them. We made their roost bar lower to the ground than our laying hens, and that is because they're a heavier bird, and we didn't want them to hurt their legs or injure their feet jumping from a really high roost. So that's why the roost is much lower in here. And we like to store all of our feed in these metal trash cans, and the reason is if we don't do that, we would have mice and probably rats and chipmunks and who knows what breaking into our feed. So with the cost of feed right now, and in an effort to keep pests down, we keep them in these metal buckets, and we keep one of those in each coop. I actually feed my ducks the same food that I feed the chickens in here, the same as I feed the meat birds. So since this coop is so close to our duck area right here, we just are able to come in here and grab the food that we need for both the ducks and the breasts. All right. And out behind here, well, on the side, we have this nest box. Hopefully we will open this baby up and see some eggs soon. I believe, yeah, this breed actually lays like a cream white egg. So we're pretty excited. And back here is their run. And we're going to be taking some plastic panels and covering the outside of this. And it's already tarped on the top. That way snow won't be able to get in here. And we'll keep this open for them for the winter months as well. So they'll be able to go in and out without having to trek through snow. All right, on to the ducks. We are actually going to be replacing this electric net fencing hopefully before winter. We have the fence to put up a new sturdier welded wire fence around here. We just haven't gotten around to it yet. So where in the world are the ducks? It's a very beautiful warm fall day today, so they're all over here in the shade. This is just a little shade area that we made for them. This willow tree back here does provide some shade in the summer, but it can get a little hot, so we like to have an area where they can go and get cooled off. We normally have a kiddie pool up for them, but I kind of took that down for now. I might open that back up. I just flipped it over and it got rained on, so. And in the winter time, we like to take this little triangular extension and put it on their coop, because most of them don't like to go up and sleep in the coop. And we put this on here and we pack it with straw, and it makes a cozy place for them to bed down, and they can actually go up into the coop from here if they choose to. And we keep their feet under here just to keep it out of the snow and rain and the elements. So I can show you what their coop looks like. I'm probably going to be adding some more straw to this coop, just to give them a little extra. I definitely need some straw back there. I think they kicked it all up to the front. So I'm going to be doing that so it's nice and cozy for winter. And that leads right down into their little outdoor shelter. So yeah, they're pretty happy in here. And the ducks are nothing like the chickens when it comes to coming out in snow. They don't care if it's snowing in here, blowing, whatever, icy. They still come outside and enjoy the weather no matter what. You'll probably notice a lot of feathers in here, and that's because all of our older birds have been molting. You can see some of them look a little rough because they haven't got all their new feathers back yet. But these are silver apple yard ducks. They are both used for egg and meat production. As you can see, they don't want me in here this close. So we're gonna go ahead and give them a little space. The drakes of this breed are really beautiful. They're the ones with the green head. And this one right here is also a drake, but he's been molting, so you can't see his green head as well. All right, coming away from the duck pen and up along the side of the house. This is where we just planted a flower bed in late summer. So we're hoping that it will be a lot bigger next year and a little bit more worthy of sharing than it is right now. Over here, we have our clothesline. And over here is our greenhouse. So again, everything is pretty close to the house. We don't have to go too far for much of anything. We got our blueberries growing here. And this little cattle panel archway is actually our kitchen garden. So we'll go up and take a quick look at that. So coming away from the duck pen, right up here next to our barn is our frost-free hydrant. This is where we get all of the water for our animals. We just come up, fill up buckets, and that's how we get everybody watered. We're actually getting ready to replace this because last year it was freezing up. So hopefully we're going to get a new one put in before it gets much colder, and we won't have that problem this year, because last year we were having to bring water buckets in the house and fill them up, and that was not very fun. So it's very weedy in here right now, but this is the kitchen garden. And it makes it really handy being able to just come out here and grab some vegetables in the summer rather than walking way up to our big garden. So that's kind of why we have the smaller garden down here. So that pretty much completes the tour of the homestead. We hope that you all enjoyed it, and we hope that you have a great day, and come back and join us again soon at the homestead. All right, it's time to crack this beauty and see if it is in fact a double yolker. There we have it. It was indeed a double yolker.